Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Brief. Today we have with us Ms. Lipi Garg. She's a lawyer and a contracts expert. With over 3 years of experience, she has helped startup businesses worldwide, including UK, US, Canada, Saudi Arabia, etc. So watch this episode for a comprehensive guide on freelancing and contracts drafting. Hello Lipi, how are you?
Hi Rashmi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great and thank you so much for joining in. I'm so happy to see you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so how's life? How are you doing?
All well, all well. Court in the morning and then dealing with clients in the afternoon. All of this is happening.
Right.
So pretty hectic.
I have been following your journey for quite some time now, and I've always been inspired by you. But today we'll unwind your journey, and I'm sure it will help a lot of law students.
And that would be my pleasure.
So let's start with from the very beginning. Please share a bit about your background and how did you start with contract drafting?
Okay. So, like everyone else, I was in my second year of law school and I was very apprehensive. Which field do I go in, whether to do litigation or to do corporate internships, tier one law firms, or should I join a chamber? In between that, I saw an opportunity with a professor at Jindal, OP Jindal Law School, right? So I applied and I got through the internship. So I was assisting him as a research assistant. So, but he was very creative, Uh, he post his classes, he had a lot of research projects. He had his own startup. So I was assisting him with all his work there. So he used to get clients and we used to draft contracts for them. Uh, at that time, I didn't know even a single word about contracts. So he told me how contracts are drafted and everything in between. So he taught me everything from scratch. What happened was he literally threw me in an ocean and he was like, that, see, he is the client. Now you onboard him and you tell him, you ask him what type of contracts he requires, draft all those contracts, then get on a call with the other party, negotiate the contract and all of this. I was like, I don't even know how to draft a contract. How would I talk to a client in the first place? So that was when my journey really started. And, the client was his very close friend.
Okay.
So we did not have even a single chance of losing him because it was all scripted. And he was actually, it was a part of my training. So
Right.
thanks to him, that was when I got interested into contracts and my journey started there.
So it started in your second year of law school. Was it an
Yes,
online internship?
yes. It was all online
Because
because the
it
colleges
was
were shut
COVID time
totally.
also.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's great.
So, yeah, so he gave me that opportunity to learn. And after dealing with 3 or 4 clients, I was literally addicted to what is going through in the contract space. And I did a lot of other projects with him as well. So I think that was my starting point.
Wonderful. So internship gave you this contract exposure,
Yes,
and then you
yes.
didn't stop.
Yeah. So
Uh,
after that, we had other plans. Even he said that, you have grown so much now, you need better opportunities. So I left the internship after 1.5 year. Post that,
okay, so it
I
was
started
1 year
taking,
long internship.
yes, more than 1 year. I think it was 1.5 year, 1.5 year approximately. Yeah. So post that, I started posting on LinkedIn a lot.
Hmm.
And that was when I got an independent project. I consulted him that whether should I take it up or not. So he said, no, go ahead and take it up. It was a startup and it was a gym. So I drafted 2 contracts for them. Today I see those contracts, I feel that there was a lot of room for improvement and everything.
Right.
But then, yeah, that was my first independent project. I completed it and yeah, that's how it's started.
That's a sign of improvement and growth. Now, when you look back at your
Yeah.
work and you feel, okay, I could have done this better.
Yeah.
great. So, legal profession, everyone says that you need mentors and seniors in legal profession, and this is how they help you in shaping your career.
Yeah, of course. So mentors are really important. And, I am a person who is filled with gratitude for people.
Right.
So, and that's what I think my parents taught me. So, yeah, I'm really grateful for him, my mentor.
Yeah. So, you have been very active in LinkedIn also, and you have been doing freelancing work since then. You just now mentioned about the project with Jim. How did you actually start freelancing? Like everyone thinks of starting freelancing at some point because it's so much in trend. But how do you actually start? What's that starting stepping
Okay.
stones?
So, the opportunity of getting independent work was this internship. Now, when I was in my first year, I started interning, not interning, getting a training with Memo Pandit. So it was a legal ed tech platform back then. So I think it gave me a business perspective. And there I had Anand sir as my mentor. So he always pushed me to do better things. Like he every day we used to have a conversation. He was like, Lipi, you are meant for bigger things in life. So you should do this, you should do that. And he taught me how LinkedIn works. Um, he taught me how business works, how startup world works. So at one point of time, I was gaining legal skills from one internship and business acumen and business skills from another. So that was a very good combination in my second year of law school. So when I entered my third year, I was, totally after it, that I have I know how to use LinkedIn. I know how to use Canva. And I think all of these things were taught to me by Memo Pandits only. I give full credits to them. So even if today I talk to Anand sir, so I am, always very thankful to him that, you wanted me to learn all of those things. And because of them, I'm here today. So LinkedIn, I got to know about LinkedIn from Anand sir only. And he taught me how to post, what to post, and everything. I took it from there. He gave me a lot of feedback also on my posts in the initial days. So I kept on posting thrice a week. Then it increased to 4 times a week. Then it increased to every day. There was a point in time, maybe after 3 months of consistent posting, I got my first client.
Okay.
And I was just educating people because I was not yet a lawyer. So I was always documenting my learnings. I never used to be like, hey, I'm an authority in contracts, you should do this, you should do that. It was always, I learned these three things yesterday and I thought of coming here and explaining them to you. So that was how my uh, content creation journey started.
Right. Even my
So yeah.
LinkedIn journey started with Anand sir. Actually, there was one workshop I did with Memo Pandits, and then there was this incentive if you put a post on LinkedIn for top 5 posts will get something, maybe a CV review or something. So I started, the first post was about Memo Pandits, and then eventually frequently I started posting.
Oh, that's great. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were your challenges in this freelancing journey?
One common challenge that everybody faces is how to find clients.
Right.
So finding clients, when I got my first client, after that, I think I got my second client after 2 months. So those 2 months were like, कि यार daily client मिलना चाहिए ना, ये मैं 2 महीने कैसे wait करूँ? So um, I think finding clients is the most, I think till today, uh, of course, onboarding them is also a task. Like you
Mhm.
find them, you have the required leads, then how you convert them is also a task. But that's about today. Let me tell you the most difficult thing about it was that I was a student. I was
Hmm.
not yet a lawyer.
Yes.
So there were leads with me who used to text me that Lipi, we want to get our these contracts drafted. They used to get on a call with me. We used to talk on Zoom or Google Meet, anything. And then they were like, oh, you're a student. Because I never lied to anyone that I am a student. So I was like, yes, I am a student. So they were like, oh, and then they never got back to me. So that was the most difficult challenge. So being a student, people do not trust you. And that is, of course, true. You, as a student, you do not have the required skill set, you do not have the required experience to deal with complicated transactions. But what really happens in chambers, if you would have observed, or maybe big law firms also, no, I'm not talking about tier one law firms here because their interns get usually research work, not drafting,
Yes.
usually. But if you talk about tier two, tier three firms or any boutique firms, their interns are only drafting the contracts. So a senior, of course, vets it. That is true. But there is no harm in starting when you are a student, right? So, of course, I never delivered any contract without any prior consultation with a senior. I had a brother who was a lawyer. I used to get my contracts vetted from him. Of course, he did it in 10 or 15 minutes, not more than that, but he used to give some valuable advice, and based on that, I used to deliver my contracts, deliver all my projects. So you need someone there, maybe in your family or friends, or maybe that senior who you can share all of what you are working on and everything. Maybe he could give that valuable piece of advice. So I think that was the biggest challenge for me when I was a student back then.
Right. Uh, Being student people, what are the key elements that you focus on while drafting the contracts?
Okay. Number one is research. There is no alternative to it. You get a contract, you get a project, not contract, you get a project, you get on a call with client. Taking information out of them is number one. Even before drafting, there are few steps that you need to take care of. Number one is, how do you take information from the client, right? It is an art. Clients will only tell you that, hey, मुझे एक employment contract draft करना है. Now, what inside an employment contract, या मुझे एक franchisee agreement draft करवाना है. All of us know कि franchisee agreement में क्या आ जाता है, but there are 100 things that differs from business to business or industry to industry. We being lawyers, we might not understand every industry or every business. So it is the client's responsibility to make you understand. And of course, clients will not know that you need this information. So you need to draft your questionnaire such that they answer everything, and you draft a clear contract. So number one is, how do you take information? Now that can be through an information form. I usually take uh, I usually draft a form and I send it out to them, and then they reply. One is that. Another can be that you send the questionnaire to them, and then they get on a call with me, one-to-one call on me with me, and then they speak what they want to, and I write everything down. So information requisition is number one thing. Second thing is, based on the information you get and when you understand the project fully, next is how you research about it. Now, research comes with a responsibility. In which jurisdiction it's there. Now, law about termination can be different in India and it can differ in US, right? Not about termination. So if you talk about California, they're having a non-solicitation clause in their contract in their employment contracts is prohibited. The contract is void. In India, it is not. We have judgments that say you can keep a non-solicitation clause, but it should be justifiable, right? So, but in California, it's totally different. If you have a non-solicitation clause in your agreement, it's void, right? So laws differ. So you have that responsibility to research about your project properly. Next element is, of course, based on the research and the information you have got from the client, you draft an outline of the agreement. In that outline, you're writing everything in layman language. right? So that even if you give it to a first year law student, he is able to understand, or a non-legal professional, if you're giving to them, they are also able to understand that what all will be there in the agreement. So I think these are the three things: how you take the information from the client, how you research, and how you draft the outline, are the three elements that you should take care before even drafting a contract. After you start drafting, then then you come to boilerplates, you come to recitals, you come to operative provisions of the contract. Everything that will come at a later stage, but first building a foundation for the contract is essential, and I think those elements are what you should focus on first, rather than straight away jumping to how a contract is drafted.
Right. I read it somewhere that a good contract is such which can back you when things go south, because
Yeah,
people refer to contracts only when things go south. Yeah.
that's true. That's true.
How do you manage client expectations? Because you started very early on when you were in your second year, and I think you were doing very well when you reached your fourth year, fifth year. So how do you manage that? And do you still ask for your seniors or your brother, like you just mentioned, to review your contracts?
To answer the later half of your question, when I'm dealing with a new type of project, of course, I discuss it. I have a lot of mentors now. I have people on board who can help me with, reviewing my work. So I think to answer the latter half is yes, even today, if I'm getting a totally new project that I have never worked on, I consult them. If you know before starting the project and after when I'm about to deliver the project, both in both the scenarios, I'm always discussing with them. And to answer your first half of the question is how I manage client expectations is, see, every client, what I ask in every project from every client is that what are the most important things for you in the contract? What do you want to protect? Some might say that my intellectual property is the most important thing. Please have very strong clauses. So I ask them. I'm already asking their expectations. They do not know what thousand things are going into the contract, right? So when I am getting on a call with them after delivering, I usually get on a call and I take them clause by clause that इधर ये लिखा है इधर ये लिखा है. But जो तीन चीजें उन्होंने मुझे बताई हैं कि these are the most important things, I specifically keep them highlighted in the draft and I show them कि आपने मुझे ये तीन चीजें बोली थी, ये इधर लिखी हैं. So they understand that हाँ, the other person has taken into consideration what is important for my business.
Yes.
So बिफोर स्टार्टिंग द कॉल आई एम लाइक कि जो आपने तीन चीजें बताई थी वो ये थी और ये हमने यहाँ 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 लिखी है. सो इन देयर माइंड्स दे आर टोटली सैटिस्फाइड दैट हे, ये तीन चीजें तो इसने लिख दी, मतलब मेरा बिजनेस तो प्रोटेक्टेड है. अब बाकी सब चीजें मुझे नहीं पता. एंड ही इज नॉट इवन कंसर्न्ड अबाउट दोज 50 अदर थिंग्स दैट वी हैव रिटन, राइट? सो वन इज दैट यू नो सामने वाले के माइंड को सेटिस्फाई करने का यही वो है दैट यू आस्क देयर एक्सपेक्टेशंस वेरी क्लियरली कि क्या इंपॉर्टेंट है आपके लिए, right? And then keeping it in absolutely simple language. कोई मतलब नहीं है फालतू के legal jargon डालने का. Nobody, even when we are in the fraternity or we are in the field for now, even we don't like legal jargon. हमें Google करना पड़े कोई word, that is so irritating. We're like simple भाषा में नहीं लिख सकते थे ये चीज. टर्मिनेट ही तो करना है ना agreement. You write it कि क्या है. Why are you making it so complicated?
No need to show your legal acumen there.
Yeah, and that's not even acumen. If test 90% of the people will not even themselves understand कि उन्होंने लिखा क्या है.
Fancy दिख रहा है.
But उनको बस fancy लिखना है without any reason, right? So I think that is there. And then I think having a briefing call with the client is very important. Even if the client says मेरे पास time नहीं है, you tell them कि 10 मिनट लगेंगे, but let me take you through the draft. So he will know कि अगर for example he has paid you 25,000 rupees for something, or let's say 5,000 rupees for something. So the other person should know कि the lawyer is actually taking out time for me. It's not like कि उसने बस दे दिया draft and काम खत्म. So you tell them every now and then कि ऐसा है, ऐसा है, ऐसा है, इसके अंदर मैंने ये ड्राफ्ट किया है, इसमें ये मैंने इसलिए लिखा है क्योंकि ऐसा भी हो सकता है. There might be points sometimes जो हमें as lawyers ना समझ आए, but they as businessmen they would definitely know कि आप ये भूल गए, ऐसा कब हो सकता है. They might not know the exact terminology for that, but they will know back of the mind कि ये सब challenges आते हैं.
बिकॉज बिजनेस का नॉलेज ऑब्वियसली उनके पास ज्यादा होता है. So,
Yes. So that's there. So having a briefing call really works.
yeah. And do you have a team now? Because you are managing a lot of things together. You also have a newsletter of, I think you are also managing LinkedIn, then your
Yeah.
freelancing job. So, do you have a team?
Yes. So I have interns and I have paralegals, and then I also have people who work with me on a freelance basis. So if I have a very important project, I get a lawyer on board to help me with that particular draft. Otherwise, for general work, uh, I have interns and some paralegals here and there to manage my international work.
Yeah.
So yes, so that's there. And but the content and newsletter, that is not outsourced, and nobody works with me on that. So that I'm handling on my own only.
Okay. Like you just mentioned your work and experience with international clients. So, how do you navigate the varying legal requirements in different
Right.
countries?
So, okay, it can be difficult.
Yes.
First, what you need to do is having a taste and flavor of your own country first. Excel in that. After that, what I believe is pick three major jurisdictions. For example, US, UK, or maybe Singapore. Three jurisdictions, and then excel in them. Only read about these three countries. Or even if you take only two countries, UK and US, what will happen is that you will start having to understand a lot of things, right? So these are and most of the clients come from these countries only,
Yes.
or they would have business related to these countries. If you talk about Australia, Singapore, these are totally different. We can research on a project to project basis, but I usually get clients from number one, Middle East. That's I work with a lot of Middle East clients. So Middle East, US, and UK. UK a little lesser for me. But yeah, you can start with UK and US, understand their laws. What you will get is that you will have a broad spectrum of the laws that exists, right? Because US is very stringent with all of these things. UK is extremely stringent about privacy laws, GDPR, etc. Right? So once you have knowledge about these two countries and your home country, you will see that you already know 70% of it. And I really believe in optimizing rather than maximizing. So once you know 70%, of course, if a client comes from Middle East, you can of course go and research. You will find that 80% of their laws are similar, only 20% of the things differ. So you can always research on that 20%. But researching for 100% when you get a contract or when you get a project is difficult. But researching for that 20%, it is workable.
But
You take 2 or 3 days.
so sorry to cut you, but Lipi, what I think is the nitty gritty is like you can research on legal part, but there are few things that you might not, especially when you're starting with international clients. There might be some nitty gritties about the business, what is acceptable there. How do you manage that?
See, so I usually talk to a lot of people. So when I got my first project, I'll tell you a story. So it was from Saudi Arabia. So that lady got on a call with me and she was like, how much do you charge? Right? So let's say very, indicative figures. Just for example, I charged 1,000 rupees for a contract in India. Right? So I was like, बाहर की client है, इसको into 3 कर देते हैं. And so into 3 is 3,000, right? So I said 3,000 rupees, which is so and so in your Saudi Riyal in your country. So she was like, oh yeah, that works very well for us. She literally said like this, oh yeah, that works very well for us. And I was like, India में तो इतनी चिक चिक करनी पड़ती है 1,000 rupees के लिए भी for that matter या कोई भी X amount के लिए. And here I've tripled it. I went to my dad. I said, Dad, अभी मेरी एक meeting थी ऐसे ऐसे. And my dad was like, do you know that Saudi Arabia is a very rich country, very rich people live there? So I was like, no, like I don't know about it. So then he was like कि उनको तू 10 times भी ज़्यादा बोलेगी. So they will not mind until and unless you are delivering quality work. So there is a lack of people, right? So lack of good trained people, and of course lawyers to a very large extent. So that's there. So that's where I got कि भाई मैं तो बहुत ज्यादा चार्ज कर सकती थी, right? And charging just that is an indicative figure कि मैंने उसको सिर्फ 3,000 बोला, क्या पता मैं उसको 10,000 बोलती वो उसमें भी मान जाती, right? So you get to know about these things, number one from experience, या पेमेंट कहाँ से लेनी है, कौन से प्लेटफॉर्म से लेनी है, all of these things, right? So ये सब कुछ आपको once you start getting projects, then you improve over the time. So I think yes.
Comes
So
with
and I think
experience.
keep having conversations with people who are in the similar field. You will understand a lot of things. Then I am a huge fan of reading podcasts and not just about law, everything, business related podcasts and business related newsletters. And then attending webinars. I attended a lot of conferences, webinars virtually in COVID. So you get through a lot of things. And then I am also, I have a knack of taking courses. I don't know, I see a course and I sign up for it. So I really love attending courses also. So and I am of the opinion, if you are watching a 1 hour YouTube video or a 1 hour webinar, you will at least, कितने भी खराब से खराब हो, you will at least get to know at least one new thing in that. And I think that will make it worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So with that perspective in mind, I attend these webinars and अब अभी तो बहुत कम हो गया है, but अब तो इतने होते भी नहीं है. But पहले every day I used to block at least 1 or 2 hours of my day to attend webinars here and there, किसी के भी. और maybe अगर live नहीं हो रहे तो I used to attend YouTube videos, मैं उनको देख लेती थी. So I think that really helps.
Absolutely. Also, like you mentioned, you are very fond of courses. So even though you started contract drafting in your first, second year of law school, you also went on to get a diploma from NLSIU. I saw that and I was like, wow.
No, that was not from NLSIU, it was from Nalsar.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
know
on
why I had
contract
this.
drafting. Yeah. So that was again, I received books from there and I was only fond of studying uh through the books. I was not really interested in giving the exams, very honestly, but I was like, ये 4 books आ गई हैं and I want to read them, and मैंने पूरी पढ़ी, and it also gave me a lot of perspective there. So yeah, please continue. I'm so sorry.
No. That's what I was saying. Ki, your profile, like I was going through your profile and I was surprised to see a lot of things. Also, you are very well versed with various laws of different countries, and I was wondering how do you manage this?
No, so see, it again comes with experience. So, I am always attending some workshops, some webinars here and there from different countries. And I think that webinar phase in US, UK, it's still going on. Like it has not ended like it ended in India, कि काम पे वापस आ गए, तो everything ended, because the work from home culture is still continuing there.
Yes.
So yeah, so that is really helping. Yeah.
Okay, Lipi, that was great talking to you. At the end, I would just like to ask if you can share some strategies for the students who want to start with contract drafting or freelancing.
Strategies. Okay. That's a difficult question. I'd say that first, uh, I'll not speak it up for just contracts because everybody has different aspirations, and I don't
Right.
want to make it contract drafting centric. If you're doing anything, maybe legal content writing, maybe, having an expertise in intellectual property rights, people do it a lot. And if you are entering into data privacy laws, you're entering into contracts, any of these things, number one thing is I would suggest start building your own portfolio. Give yourself projects, dummy projects, work on them, improve on them like anything. You don't have any timeline, but give yourself maybe 15 days timeline that I have to complete this much work in the next 15 days. Start building your profile. I have never got, you know, I've never been on freelancing platforms like Upwork, Fiverr. It's just LinkedIn for me.
Yeah,
So start building.
I wanted to ask this if you are getting clients from different platforms or is it just
No,
LinkedIn?
only LinkedIn. I've never tried much on Upwork, Fiverr. Never worked for me. Upwork worked somehow, but it requires a lot of time. And then someone suggested me, and I read a book also. It said that, only focus on one particular platform. Do not try to get leads from 100 different platforms. It will not work. You will fail at the end of the day. So I kept it LinkedIn only. So focus on one platform. Initially, I think you can build your profiles on two or three different platforms, but eventually start taking clients from only one platform and make it a machine. Client generating machine is what I would say. And that would be one. Stay consistent with if you're doing Upwork, then sending out proposals. Give yourself a target of, let's say, sending out 3 proposals a day. Or if you are working on LinkedIn, then maybe, 3 posts a week. That should be there. And you should not fail at it. These two, so number one is consistency, of course. Then next thing is, yes, I've noted this down and I have, marked it with red, that have a OneDrive or any cloud storage. You know, a lot of times people say that based businesses में तो सिर्फ कमाई होती है, you don't have any expenses. I spoke this in front of my dad and he was like, "Ki, you are mad. Every business requires investment. So invest in good things like cloud storage." He did not, of course, suggested me cloud storage. He doesn't know कि cloud storage के क्या फायदे हैं, because of course he's, one generation up,
हाँ.
of course. So, but today I'm realizing I bought a cloud storage last year. I'm not promoting OneDrive as such, but I used OneDrive. So it is so convenient that you have properly made folders everywhere. Initially, I think they give you 5 GB of free storage, so you can use it for a while. And documents take very less space. So from that perspective, you can use the free version of OneDrive. Start using it. You will understand its value once you have dealt with at least 30, 40, 50 clients. You will understand the value I'm telling you. So because you have so many documents to take care of, and after 10 years, uh maybe not 10 years, I'm wrong, because I don't have that experience, but let's say after 2 years, 3 years, if you still want to see कि उस time आपने कौन से draft पर काम किया था, you have access to it.
Yes.
So these things matter. So having a cloud storage really works. Having Canva also, of course, works because I have a paid version now, but I used free version for quite some time. But content creation was responsible, that's how I used to get clients. So I purchased Canva Pro, but you can go with a free version. Uh, Use AI. AI is here to help us, not replace us. So I think you should use it to your advantage, in increase your creativity, and maybe reduce your time for repetitive tasks. So that's true there. So I think all of these things you should take care of, and these should be your strategy to upskill every day. And then, of course, read books as much as you can. Start having suggestions from people. Start taking courses. Read articles. A live law subscription might also help you. So I think
Definitely.
these are
That
the
is,
things. Yeah.
yeah. These insights, and thank you so much for talking to us. It was really wonderful to have you and speak to you.
Same here, Rashmi. Thank you for having me. And I hope your audience will like this and find it informative.
Definitely. I'm sure whoever will watch this will get some insights. Thank you so much. I'm just so glad.
All
And
right, Rashmi. Thank you. Thank you.
thank you, Lipi. Have a great day.
Yeah. You too. Bye bye. Take care.
Bye.